the heart of the Kalahari, flame and rain are the king and queen of the sky. All existence relies upon their life-giving power. But benevolence and wrath are wielded with equal measure. All creatures will do well to respect the rainbow-girdled storm and the lightning it wields. According to legend, when Rain's son came to earth, Hyena tricked the village into setting fire to his hut. When Rain heard of the death of her son, she and Flame descended upon the village with vengeance. This is why man shuns the company of Hyena, who now wanders alone by night. Thank you for joining us on our journey through the desert to Nossob Rest Camp. Whether you travel from Mata Mata on the Namibian border or from Tweerafirin on the South African side, the journey will take you the better part of a day, especially if you stop to enjoy a coffee break or lunch break at the unfenced picnic sites along the way. At any of these sites, you will have the opportunity to capture some close-up photos of some of the smaller creatures like reptiles and birds. The sociable weavers will descend upon your picnic table by the dozen. Although they appear drab at first glance, on closer inspection you will notice their intricate scaly patterned feathers. I really grew to appreciate these bold architects and the impressive communal nests they build. By the time you reach Nossob campsite, you really feel as if you are in the heart of the wilderness, surrounded by the close calls of jackal and lions, and far from highways and cell phone reception. Nossob is one of the most popular rest camps in the Kalahari, and it isn't hard to see why. As you can see, it was fairly quiet when we arrived, but over the next few days, the campsite began to fill up as we drew closer to Christmas. The most magical thing about camping is sharing a home with a wide variety of wild creatures and observing their behavior and interactions. The campsite is undoubtedly ruled over by the ground squirrels. These industrious burrowers provide non-stop entertainment. During the day, you can see them scurrying around with their fluffy tails held up over their backs to provide their own shade. That is, if one has a tail. Unlike my favorite little squirrel, Stubby. I could watch her and her friends foraging for hours. As you can see, climbing is not their speciality. Be careful though, because these little critters like to gnaw. Of course we knew to keep our food stowed away, but we didn't expect them to chew up a plastic spatula or tear apart a bag of charcoal and use the strips of brown paper to line their burrows. Our neighbors told us that we got off lightly, as they once made the mistake of setting up their tent right over a burrow and the squirrels gnawed a hole right through their ground sheet. A reminder that we are merely visitors in their home. Don't even think about it, Stubby. The squirrels are not the only entertainment around camp. Keep an eye out for flashes of green, blue, and yellow as the swallow-tailed bee-eaters dart after insects. Gorgeous violet-eared waxbills flit about in the branches overhead, and if you place a container under the tap in your campsite, they will come down for a drink. At night, we heard the unmistakable sound of a dog lapping up water. Upon investigation, we came face to face with a black-backed jackal who beat a hasty retreat. They may look cute and fluffy and remind you in many ways of domestic dogs, but don't forget that they are wild predators. Although they seem fairly afraid of humans, be careful, especially if you are camping with small children. You can also find scorpions hiding in deep crevices of the bark on the trunks of trees, but the best, if not the only way to spot them, is with a UV light. On windy nights, when the insects are forced to ground, the scorpions come out to hunt. The best feature of the campsite, however, is the hide, which overlooks a waterhole in the Nossob riverbed. It is worth a visit at any time of day, and because it is floodlit after dark, you have the chance to see the shy nocturnal creatures you seldom spot during the day. A family of barn owls roosts in the campsite, and you often see them from the hide, along with spotted eagle owls and the many, many jackals that constantly patrol the boundary of the camp. But when the otherworldly shape of a brown hyena materializes out of the darkness, hushed excitement ripples through the hide. For many visitors, including us, this is the first time seeing this mysterious beast, also known as die strandloper. We were lucky enough to catch sight of 3 individuals during our stakeouts, so if photographing one of these animals is on your bucket list, a few patient hours in the Nossob Hide will likely be rewarded.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yo.
The area around Nossob is beautiful. The riverbed is wide, and there are areas of lush green grass among the white gold sands. An unusual feature of the camp is the 2 gates, north and south. There's plenty to explore in both directions. If you set out early through the north gate, you can drive until the very end of the road at the very end of South Africa. When you reach this spot, known as Union's End, you will be standing at the intersection of Namibia, South Africa, and Botswana. It is an epic drive that will take you an entire day. Because it's such a long drive, there's really no getting around the fact that you will be driving through the heat of the day, when animals may be scarce. So be prepared, bring lots of water and snacks, and enjoy the immense, breathtaking landscape. Along the way in the morning, we spotted numerous bat-eared foxes. This was another first for us. These rare animals are mainly insectivores, and they use their large ears to listen for the rustling of insects underground. Twisting its head from side to side, it pinpoints the location of sound before quickly digging up and devouring its meal. If you want to see predators, you don't need to travel far from camp. There are plenty of waterholes along the road in either direction, and the whole area is famous for big cats. Bedinkt is one such waterhole. The 3rd waterhole north of Nossob, Bedinkt, is where we saw one of the best sightings of lions for the entire trip. We found a pride of 6 females, some drinking, some snoozing, and some cuddling. The matriarch had a very distinctive injury, a blinded left eye, giving her the look of a grizzled veteran. We heard from some of the regulars around camp that this matriarch has been leading these 6 fearsome huntresses for many years, and they seldom fail at a kill. Another waterhole worth visiting is along the Matriarch loop. The second waterhole south of Nossob tells the tale of a determined wife who, when her husband started drinking too much and could not complete work on a borehole, rolled up her sleeves and continued with the rest of the drilling herself. Matriarch is a popular waterhole due to the proximity to camp and the lovely sunset light. We were able to find a pair of spotted hyenas, which, according to more local knowledge, are keen oryx hunters. We also saw this amazing display of ostriches, like Moulin Rouge dancers with their flamboyant feathers flying amongst the kicked-up dust in their frenetic dances. Bidding farewell to Nossob was not easy. Even though we had checked every day for cancellations and extended our stay by a few nights, we had to leave eventually. On the journey back down to Tueraferin, we stopped at Kunkwa picnic site, an eerie spot with the dead trees looming above the picnic tables, and this strange gurgling crow. It almost appeared to be choking, but this is in fact the call of the Cape Crow. Further down the Alb, we stopped at the Auchterlonie picnic site and museum to look at the ruins and learn about the history of the area. A Scottish surveyor, Roger Duke Jackson, was responsible for the Gaelic names of the Alb's waterholes, like Auchterlonie. These boreholes were drilled along the Alb in the 1910s in case South Africa had to send troops to Southwest Africa, now Namibia. After World War I, the boreholes and land were offered to farmers, but there were not many suited for the harsh life in the desert, so the land was bought by the state, and the few farmers who had taken up residence were resettled further south, so that the national park could be formed. The main building is restored with original materials: calcrete walls from the rocks in the area, and camelthorn rafters, which are very uneven, as the farmers had to make do with any tree they could find.
14 days to get to Upington.
The rafters are held together with hide from red hartebeest and oryx, tanned with the alkaline rock in the area. The thatching was made of dune reed, and the floor was levelled with dung. The ruins give a glimpse into the hard life that would have been lived in the Kalahari. Sadly, not much is recorded about the Khoisan peoples, who were also displaced in the creation of the park. It is only in recent years that the cultural heritage of the San has been formally recognized as an integral part of this landscape, with the declaration of the park as part of the Komani cultural landscape by UNESCO. With that last visit, it rounds out our trip to the harsh yet starkly beautiful world of the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park. Thank you for joining us on our journey, and I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed making it. See you on our next adventure. If you like the content we've been making, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing or buying us a coffee. The link is in the description.